You deserve to win. If you actually do the thing that you say that you do, then you deserve to win in the world of social media, digital marketing. That's what we believe. So what brings us here today?
Today is about the audit. I was somebody who signed up for the Perry Marshall artificial intelligence thing. So part of that was an opportunity to talk to you about my site.
Good. Well, let's go there. Let me share my screen. So you are one of the team members on CSP Financial Group.
That's correct.
And you have your own personal presence here, LinkedIn, Instagram, and X, and some of these other ones. And these are all you, which is great.
Yeah.
We work with a lot of financial planners.
Do you?
Yeah, you should see like Caleb Williams and Kim and Todd. Let's see. So a lot of them, they do like life insurance or higher ticket things. So like this is Kim of Prosperity Thinkers.
Okay.
And she ranks on all these terms related to Dave Ramsey and, reaction videos to what Dave Ramsey's saying about how you invest in life insurance. So you can see here, she ranks on thousands of keywords, got a lot of links because she's been on a lot of podcasts. And she's been interviewing a lot of people who most financial planners would consider to be competitors. But actually, it's super symbiotic because it shows Google that this is the space that you're in. So when you see all of these things here, Wealthy Habit, she's got 5 books. She's got a new book that's just come out. All of this stuff intersects. And her husband, Todd Langford, has a SaaS software that a lot of financial planners use that you may have heard about. So you can see, now this is still being worked on. We even rank on his name, even though we haven't even worked on it. But I'll just show, I love to teach from example. Because there's, a lot of people just give advice, but they haven't proven it themselves. They haven't done it. But you can see, for example, here, Truth Concepts. This is his software for financial planners. He teaches conferences, workshops, been doing this thing forever. And then he interviews a lot of financial planners and vice versa. So if I look at Caleb Williams, who's Better Wealth, he's a financial planner, but he's also got a conference full of financial planners. He's got a great book, The And Asset, and he's absolutely crushing it on all these different channels. Now, because he's younger, he's more predisposed to, doing YouTube and social media because, the average financial planner is like 57 years old and this kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So if we look at his, I'll show you this. It's not that he's got a ton of subscribers. It's not that he's a podcast host, that he is strategically interviewing the top people in the industry about different topics. And the majority of what he has is co-created content. I mean, he's interviewing someone else who's got a book, someone else who's authoritative on a particular issue, someone else who sold their company for a ton of money, and this is what they did to minimize taxes, or all of these different issues. So you can see the majority of these are actually other people's podcasts, not just his.
Okay.
But if you look at his and the top videos, he's mostly selling, because, in financial planning, there's so many different angles you could specialize in, right? Depending on the audience that you resonate with. But for him, he's resonating with the entrepreneurs who are using life insurance, for example, as an investment vehicle because they are selling their company or they have a private trust or a family foundation, this kind of thing.
Yep.
And so, you've heard of infinite banking and this kind of thing, which is where he is, for example.
Okay.
But we've discovered that in financial services, each person relates to other people that are kind of similar to them in their community, their background, their life situation. This because there's anybody. Otherwise, you just go to Charles Schwab or whatever, right?
Right.
People resonate with people that are like them. So if I look at you, Felicia, can I tell immediately who you resonate with? Like that's not immediately clear to me. So like we were teaching in the Perry Marshall training, it's not about these SEO secrets. It's about the start of that strategy that really differentiates who you are.
Right.
So you have professional credentials, and most people, they don't know really what this means, and it doesn't necessarily mean anything. But I need that signal to be super strong, helping female professionals master their money so you can finally have the freedom to live on your terms. That's good. That's a start. But how do we take it a step further with stories?
Right.
Right. And so those stories just need to be everywhere. And when we see these kinds of trust marks, this usually means paid PR. You can pay $100 to take a story and get it published across all these different places.
No, those are me being interviewed for all of those things. I used to be on the CFP board. So
Okay.
I got the
Well, that's good, but I want
opportunity.
to see it, right? I mean, so
Right,
when we search for you, this stuff should show up.
right.
So see if
Well, you
people
can
are, is great,
see if, yeah,
but I want to see those stories, right?
got it. Okay.
And the thing that brings your personal brand together is your personal brand site. And this one on CSP Financial Group, the overall site doesn't have a lot of power or rank for much. So the page is zeros all the way across.
Got it.
So the page for you. So this one, even though it ranks on your name, which is a low competition term, this is not generating any traffic for you. I mean, it's like a
Yeah,
business card. So if someone, whatever, types it in, they'll come here and they'll see this, but it doesn't say anything. It doesn't tell your story. So I think the biggest thing missing, which is relatively easy to fix, is take those media mentions, take any of these interviews, turn them into articles where people can see it. And this has nothing to do with whether you have expertise or whether you've been in the media, or it's nothing to do with that. It's everything to do with, are you taking those assets and repurposing them so they can be seen in Google, right?
okay.
So I guess there's this one here, but you've not posted anything for a couple of years, and then no one's really seen any of these. So this is living in the world of YouTube, but it's not really seen anywhere else. So you can't count on YouTube, even though it is part of Google,
Right,
to push this in the regular search results or show up on social or automatically get traffic.
right,
So a lot of this content, especially here, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, this is long enough, meaty enough content that it should be repurposed. So 2 minutes, 1 minute, this is the stuff that you can repurpose into social media very easily, right? The
right,
3 ways to do this, and then that goes into deeper topics like what you have here.
right,
So my assessment is that you have the experience, you've got the knowledge, you've got the trust, you've got these articles and whatnot, but it's just not showing up. And the way
right.
that these other guys are showing up is they're taking their videos and they're repurposing and
Mhm.
they're interviewing a lot of other people, and that causes growth, and more importantly, it creates opportunities for clients. People reach out because people who follow the other person or care about that particular topic will say, "Oh, well, I need to talk to Caleb, or I need to talk to whatever it might be on that issue." And so
Okay.
it's this great referral network, which increases trust. And it doesn't help, it doesn't hurt you from a competitor standpoint at all. It's never the case, because everyone resonates. Even if you sell the exact same thing, everyone resonates differently. So for
Yeah,
you, like the female entrepreneurs that have gone through particular situations, and you're going to find other people that are just like Felicia, right?
yeah.
But we don't see Felicia easily found online. Which is great. This is like a 101 kind of assessment. We just need to see more Felicia.
Okay.
That's what I want to, it's hopefully it's pretty easy to diagnose, and you can see that that's the case. Like you have some of these things here. So let's say this is a decent one. I think this is one that's like an hour-long interview you have here. Ink and Decent Women magazine.
Incandescent women.
Incandescent. Oh, okay. Incandescent. Okay. Is in like incandescent spelled differently. So this site ranks on these terms here. Imagine a lot of these are other women that are
Names.
incandescent, names of people, which is not a surprise. But this page doesn't get any traffic and it doesn't rank on anything.
Done it.
So just because it's on this site doesn't mean anyone's going to see it, right? So no one's really seen this. And I would guess the reason why is that even though this has this YouTube video embedded, Prepare for the 5Ds of Life with author Felicia Gopaul, I saw your Amazon book. There's nothing here that would cause Google or a human to want to say this link, what's on this page, is something that I want to share. So what I would do is I would take the transcript out of this video and pull some of
Mhm.
the highlights and put the highlights down here so that this page has value, right? So that's just an example of repurposing, right?
Yeah,
And then I would run $1 a day on your book, this podcast, and then you have the 5Ds. That's scary. I don't want any of them. So
yeah,
this 8 years ago, which is fine for reviews, but let's just say, for example, I wanted to target middle-aged Black women that are entrepreneurs.
right,
I could do that, and I could sub-target on LinkedIn for topics related to financial planning, related to this. What do you do when these life events happen?
right,
Because my guess is that you published this book 7.5 years ago, and everyone goes through this whole thing where it's all this effort to publish. It's 22 pages, not like as a huge, huge thing to do, but you publish it, you do a little bit of promotion around it, and then it just kind of sits there, nothing happens, right? But if you spent $1 a day promoting this, we have a whole technique that we teach called $1 a day. Happy to give you access to all of the stuff that we have. Then this becomes an ongoing asset that creates compound interest for you. Further, you could also create a second edition now that this is almost 8 years old. Why not? I mean, you've got more stories since then.
yeah,
And it gives you another reason to be able to promote this and establish you as an author. And then you could take all the other places where you have been featured. I just had it open. You've been on TV and featured in all the major media here, and just put that into a content library.
Okay.
All of these things here. So I teach this by example through my own thing. So you have these assets here in the first box, this purple box.
Right.
You've produced all this, but from what I can tell, you've not processed it.
Yeah.
So that it can then be posted in multiple channels and then be promoted. So once it gets to Amazon, for example, now you can do $1 a day. Once it's on LinkedIn, you can do $1 a day. Once you put it on your Facebook page, you could share it. There's lots of things that you can do. So you have, if I were to score you across these 4 categories, I would say probably an A for production. Processing is an F. Posting is, like maybe a C-, and promotion is probably an F.
Okay.
Which is actually what you want. Because most people out there that are doing financial services, they're all in the promotion and they don't have the expertise in the stories and whatnot. Right. So you have it the correct way, but you've just got to organize all these assets. So what I've done is I've taken the stories, like for me, search engine engineer. So I lean into that, right? And I lean into the young adults that we've trained up who are helping business owners. And I tell story after story about how we've done this, right? Into my topic wheel. And these are the topics I care about. So what are your 6 topics, Felicia? How do they intersect with other people that you know that tie with stories, like all the media mentions that you have, all the things that show that you have trust? Because, you're not going to be a certified financial planner unless you have these relationships. You wouldn't be on the board. Or, I wouldn't have relationships with figureheads unless there was some amount of trust there. So when all that content's there and you boost it for $1 a day, that's what generates the trust. And then that is what causes you to rank in search results because people can see the trust that you have. So I see these logos here, but I want to be able to click on these. Like where are you housing all these places that you've been featured? Like literally.
I have a document that I created that has all of that.
Well, so why don't you put it on your personal brand website?
So somebody took my website down a while ago. And so the new website that I have doesn't have the links that the old website had.
So why'd they take the old website down?
Yeah. I don't know how they took it down, but they took down my Felicia Gopaul site and they took down they took down all of my sites.
Who's this who?
I have no idea who took it down. All of a sudden I went to look and all of a sudden all of my sites were down. So last year I had to hire somebody to create my sites again. And when I went to archive, when I went to my web host, they didn't have it. They hadn't been backing it up. Yeah, it was just a mess.
Okay.
Look under.
So it was on this one. Was this at FeliciaGopaul.com?
Well, yeah, that was one of them. But the other one was the one that I had spent more time on was the Financial Control Mastery.
Okay. So, but you own your site?
Yes.
Okay. So just put it back up or point the name servers. If you log into whoever your registrar is, point the name servers to one of our servers and we'll fix it. We can fix it easily. What the main site is what? Financial what?
Financial Control Mastery.
FinancialControlMastery.com.
Yep. That's actually it.
This one actually has more power than the other ones. It's 14 from 66 links, but ranks on nothing. That's interesting. That means the site is probably content poor. Join a community of women who are confidently independent with their money. Won't you join us? Featured in. So it says you're featured in these places, but I can't click on them to see that.
Yeah.
And I believe you when you say that your media mentions are legitimate. Just know that the majority of the time when you see stuff like this, it's when someone pays $100 to be able to do the paid PR, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we like to actually link to these
have something that's clickable.
Yeah. Okay. So there's you. For some reason, financial advisors love to have the smiling picture where they're crossing their arms. I don't know, why they all cross their arms.
I don't know why.
But I don't know. They do that for some reason. Okay. Testimonials. But what would make these more powerful? If these were stories and you had pictures of them and videos, right?
Well, you may or may not know this, but with testimonials, it's very funny in the financial services industry. So we're not supposed to use testimonials is the reality of the whole thing.
I work with a lot of financial planners, and it's not just for financial planning. It's in any service business where a testimonial, if you see a page full of testimonials, Felicia, you're going to think, obviously it's going to be all positive. Oh yeah, I like working with Felicia. She's amazing. I would recommend her, blah, blah, blah. But there's no value in a testimonial to the client because the testimonial is all about you. It's self-serving for you as a financial planner. So if you tell a story, if Barbara told her story, then that would resonate with the other Barbaras. See, this is
Right.
all about you. Felicia's knowledgeable in her field, dedicated to her business, committed to her clients, generous in her support of other business owners. It's nothing to do with whether it's true or not. Like, I believe it's true. I believe that's what she said. But this is self-serving to you.
Yeah.
If I'm someone who's like Barbara, and I'll just make something up, hey, I was 53 and my husband died or divorced or this thing happened and Felicia helped me through it all and because she understands and blah blah blah. Then it's like, oh, okay, I can resonate with that story, with that woman who is a female entrepreneur, self-made, but had this life circumstance happen and Felicia was able to come in and help me. So I can tell a
Yeah.
story about what happened, about that person's life situation. This doesn't do that. This is just a straight up testimonial. So we don't even like to say the word testimonial because it doesn't have any value for the potential client.
Okay.
The only value a testimonial will have is if someone really well known says, hey, you need to work with Felicia. If like Oprah said, oh, I really recommend working with Felicia. Okay, fine. But it's the stories. See, look at this. My biggest concern about Felicia's consulting service was that it required a lot of knowledge and preparation, but she lays everything out very simply and concretely, says Stacy Morris. But I don't know anything about Stacy. And this sounds just like what Barbara said, right?
Got it.
So this is like one of the it's not like it is one of the most common mistakes in marketing.
Right.
Which is, well, of course you're supposed to put testimonials in your website, right?
Right.
Wrong. Now you have a story. Okay, check out. Now it's interesting. Okay, tell me a story. People love listening to stories. That's why Pixar and Disney and all these guys are so strong because they tell stories. Then this is a potential good hook. Between 89% of women will be solely responsible for their finances at some point in their lives. Oh, that's a wake up call. Well, what do I do about that? Well, you don't tell me. And then here's a picture of these women. They're having girls' time on the beach or something. But this, I don't think is real. I'm going to guess this is not real.
It's a picture from probably one of those.
Yeah, it's a picture that's used all over the place. You can see.
Yeah.
So we can see stock art. All these ones, same one's been used all over the place. Where is this one actually from? No, whatever. But unless you have to, we don't recommend using stock art. So show these women's talk about, have some trust here where you show your book about the 5Ds. The about should, so there's a picture of you, which is great. And there's a lot of words here, which is good. But imagine there was a video here and it said, hey, I'm Felicia Gopaul. I'm glad you're here. And let me tell you why you're here and who I serve, right? You're dealing with this situation. You're an, like all these things, building a community of women. So I want to see these other women. You got a community of women. Where are they? Right. And you have all the, using Entrepreneur. Okay. You have all of the assets. It's just for some reason not here. You have like all the stock art or whatnot, right?
Yep.
Like that's not real. That's not real, right? I want to connect with Felicia. Oh, you do have these other podcasts. Okay. So why aren't these turned into articles? I bet you this stuff is just sitting here somewhere, but no one gets to see it.
Yeah, they have not been turned into articles.
So they have to be repurposed.
Yeah.
I get the sense that somebody put up this website and whoever this is, and she puts up beautiful websites, I'm sure, but unless the person building your website understands Felicia, who you are and how you serve clients and what makes you different, this is the website that you're going to get. And so you don't rank on these keywords, even though you have some links coming in, because you haven't satisfied Google standards, which is EEAT, experience, expertise, authority, trust. You need to show those components. So I think this is really good news for you, Felicia, because you literally have to take this bucket of all of this information here in phase one. You have all this. You've done the hard work. You have these, you have these assets, you have these podcasts, you have these articles, but it's just been stuck here in phase one and it's not moving to phases 2, 3, and 4. So you could hire someone on Upwork for a few $100s to do all this, or you could give it to the girl who made your website and have her do it. But it has nothing to do like with using Entreport or WordPress or like, it's nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with like being good on TikTok or YouTube. Your experience, the results that you drive for your clients, the book that you have, all the knowledge that you have is not easily visible online. That is my professional assessment.
Okay.
Which is great. Now we got to get this domain going again. So we'll help you for that for free. No problem. You're going to be in Chicago in a few weeks, right?
Yes.
Okay. So send a note to Stephanie@BlitzMetrics.com and say, hey, as with Dennis, we did an audit. I'm going to see him in Chicago at Perry's event. And we want to get my personal brand website going. Please help me. And I'm also going to put together a folder that has all these media mentions and other sorts of assets. And then later you could, tune up the book and these other pieces. But I think the biggest thing is the articles where you already have trust and these podcasts that you've done, which even if they were a long time ago, it doesn't matter because people's lives, what the 5 Ds, like that will always be the case, right?
Right.
Divorce, disability, downsizing, disasters, and death. Yikes.
So let me ask you a question. So I had a podcast with over 150 episodes. It was to another business. Would it make any sense to do anything with those assets too?
Do they tie to these topics and to your trust?
Well, I mean, to my trust, but not specifically. I was doing college planning at the time. That's where I first met Perry, through college planning, which is an aspect of financial services, but not one I'm focused on right now.
Well, it still shows. So it's not financial planning. It is sort of, but it's obviously it's not the same avatar.
Right.
But it definitely shows something about who you are.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of intersection in showing that you're an expert. You're not just somebody who just came onto the scene last year, enrolled in some weekend course and now is selling financial products.
Yeah.
All of it helps. It's not as like bullseye as like your book would be, but I think it's great. Why wouldn't you? 150 episodes, that's a lot of content. And I imagine within each episode, Felicia, you've got some stories that would resonate with your core values. Because even though you could change your business, your core values, I imagine, are still the same.
Right.
And you still resonate with a lot of middle-aged Black women, I would think.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing that builds trust.
Right.
Look, if I was in your customer avatar, in your ICP, I wouldn't know the difference between one financial advisor and another. I would go with the one that I trust.
Right.
They're not going to look at like what license you have or anything like that. It's the way anybody makes decisions in professional services.
Got it.
It's literally that simple. It's a people business. You know that.
Right.
But because of this technology and internet and whatever you want to call it, people they lose sight of the fundamentals.
Right.
Which is great. The beauty is you have the fundamentals, but somehow technically things got lost along the way. This is really good news. This is actually the situation that you want to be in.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I will send an email to Stephanie. And what I'm specifically asking her is I want to get my personal brand website back up.
We will get your personal brand website. We will build it. It's not a custom design thing. We'll take the assets you give us and put it into the site. We will pay for all the hosting and all that kind of stuff, just as our gift to you, because I want to show that it doesn't require paying $10,000 to a fancy website, SEO expert designer, whatever, to be able to rank on your name and drive leads. Okay. Like you literally have to have the experience. You have to have happy clients and lots of proof that you make clients happy. And then I believe you deserve to win. If you actually do the thing that you say that you do, then you deserve to win in the world of social media, digital marketing. That's what we believe.
Yeah.
But there's so much of this hocus pocus and other stuff out there that a lot of people who are just better marketers seem to win. And I think that's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it frustrates me to no end that I've been in the industry for as long as I've been in the industry. And these young kids who don't have the experience that I have got more reputation online than I do.
How many 21-year-old life coaches are there? And if I'd love to say, Felicia, I wish sometimes I had the confidence of a 21-year-old life coach.
Yeah.
I turned 50 this year. I have 30 plus years of experience in internet marketing. Yeah. I'm way beyond the 10,000 hour rule. I'm 50,000 hours plus. Yeah. Yet for the same thing, you and I have a ton of experience, but there's other people that beat their chest louder and make bigger promises, which of course gets them into trouble because they're making claims and this kind of thing. Right. But the world, especially in social media, is littered by people who are louder. Yeah. As opposed to better. Yeah. So I love seeing people in your situation who are better, but for some reason things got kind of broken in terms of getting their core experience and whatnot onto the internet. Yeah. That's like literally, that's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to change who you are. We're just taking what you have and try to get it on the internet. Yeah. That's the part that got broken. So I hope you take no offense at what I was saying. I'm just merely showing you where things are broken. You can clearly see where things are broken along the way. So I have been in the Perry world for a long time. So I am comfortable understanding where I am. And it's one of the reasons why I signed up for this particular thing. Okay. I mean, Perry just has a habit of being on the cutting edge. I started with him in the Google AdWords world. Oh, so the Facebook world. And now we're in the AI world.
and I stop in and out. And so maybe that's what you're seeing is I stop in and out of the Perry world.
Perry and I just put out a new book on TikTok. Do you see that?
I didn't see that.
I'll bring a copy for you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know nothing about TikTok at all. That is not the world I wanted to exhibit or be inside of.
But Perry and I don't know anything about TikTok either. But we have the best-selling book on this, and because of the Google thing and Facebook thing and all that. And what you'll find, so he's got 80-20. So we revised it to be 95-5. Okay. Because the principle of the 80-20 is if you focus on the stuff that really moves the needle, then that's the thing, priority. But in the world of social media, because there's things like advertising and because algorithms kind of concentrate power, if you do that one thing, not just 80-20, but you really focus on that thing, that one story, that avatar of the 55-year-old Black CEO female where this thing happened to her, that it then attracts all the other Black females whose husbands have died, or like this thing happened, grandma died, like all these things happen. It's actually easier to reach the micro niche if you have one or two really compelling stories. And so that's what this book is all about. It's not about TikTok and singing and dancing and doing those kinds of things. It's for professionals like us. I even got Perry onto TikTok. At first he's like, I don't want to be on TikTok. And I'm like, dude, you want to write a book on TikTok and you're not willing to be on TikTok. I consider that hypocritical, don't you? Mm-hmm. So what we're going to do for my birthday is we're going to spend the whole day together and you're just going to be Perry. And I'm going to ask you questions as 1-minute videos so you don't suffer from rambling old man syndrome, which is the number one thing that kills people who are like over 40 that try to get onto social media is they can't say the thing, but they just take forever to say the thing, right? Just can you get to the point, make the point, right? Yeah. And I get that you're giving financial advice. You have to tell this whole story and it's like a 10-minute answer, but can you answer things and can you give like one tip? Here's one tip about, when this situation happens, just one, not five, just one tip, stay with that one tip. Right. And so that's what we did. We filmed the whole day, one tip at a time. And we were on the couch and his adopted children were there. And, his wife came in we were just filming all along the way. And we assembled 100 little 1-minute tips. No singing and dancing or any of that kind of stuff. Just sharing expertise, telling stories, but in 1 minute and video. So I know a lot of Perry's group, like I was just interviewing Tim, who's the raw honey guy. Right. Also on Planet Perry forever. Yeah. And he's been sending out email newsletters and he got his operations and gear and all that. He was on my podcast and he's a lot like you and me in that he's not an over the top self-promotional guy. He's just really good at what he does. And because of the quality, because of the trust, because of all that, like people trust him for the honey because he actually goes out there, meets the beekeepers and this whole thing, but he doesn't show his face and he doesn't have videos. And, most of Planet Perry is they're used to words that are in email and web copy, but they don't show their face. Right. But if you're a service business, you got to show your face. Yeah. And so you can tell 1-minute stories. You can elevate these clients of yours without them having to go into, the details about how their husband died. And like, it doesn't even have to be like that. Right. You're elevating them as like a podcast host, but in 1-minute stories. And that's what's working on social media. And you have so many of these podcasts, even this education thing, Dan Euland's been in Planet Perry forever. He does the college counseling thing too, but at the high end, at the super high end. And he has the same issue where he's got dozens of these super high power podcast episodes, but he struggled to talk in 1-minute answers. His every answer of his is like 30 minutes long, right? Which won't work on social media, right? So what we do is we take those podcasts, just like we should take the 150 that you have, and then we pull out little snippets, and those become tweets and Instagram stories and TikTok. So you don't even have to, Felicia, you don't even have to be on social media. We just need to process that raw content, pull out the highlights, and then put those things out there, especially from what your guests have said. And that's your social media strategy. You don't have to do anything on TikTok or Instagram or Twitter or Reddit, WhatsApp. You don't have to do any of that. None of that.
Dennis, I want to be respectful of your time. Yeah. And I've got three quick questions. So I record every interview, all of my, anytime I meet with my clients, I record it. Good. So potentially
that's a gold mine. Yeah. Go back. And obviously, even though technically they're recorded and that they click the thing saying on Zoom, they get permission, but you say, hey, so-and-so, hey, Dolores, you told me something a couple months ago that I thought was really, really like a wisdom of nugget. And I would love to share that clip and honor you. Would that be okay? Here's the clip. And 99% of the time, you know what they say. Like,
Yes.
oh, yeah, sure, happy to, right? Because it's not promoting you, it's
Right.
you promoting them.
Got it.
So if we can gather a few dozen of these clips from existing, I love it. I record all the, like in Zoom, there's a thing where it's like by default, record everything.
Yep.
So I never have to worry about it. And
Yep.
then when someone in like even a call like this says something incredible, it's already been recorded. And then we just go back to them saying, hey, Felicia, remember when you mentioned this one thing? We would love to write an article about you at our
Got it.
expense. Would
Got
that
it.
be okay? Well, of course it'd be okay.
Yeah.
And then you put that out there. And then when people see Felicia, who you work with, they're like, oh, she works with this person, this person, this person. I'm like that too. I want to work with, I feel like I'm her kind.
Yeah.
But right now, it's not clear who your type is. I mean, you say, the independent female who's dealing with the 5Ds and this stuff, but I don't really see them. I don't see there's, see what I'm saying? So you have the calls recorded, you have all these podcasts, you've been featuring them, like you have all the things, but you see the issue, right?
Yeah. I do see the issue.
It is like the most 101 digital marketing thing, which is great because it's so easy to solve.
Got it. So that's the first question that I wanted to ask you. So I am part of and I will tell you, I very quickly looked over your work. I didn't spend a whole lot of time on it. So one of the things that you talked about is who else are you connected to? So
Yeah.
I am connected to a gentleman by the name of Mark Batson.
Okay.
And Mark is getting ready to launch a book later on this year where
Oh, yeah.
he's going to put a bunch of money behind that in
Uh-huh.
order to draw people to his organization. And the way that we
Uh-huh.
describe ourselves is we're one of the biggest RAs that nobody's ever heard of. And
Okay.
so I want to leverage the fact that I work with him in what it is that I'm doing.
Yes.
And so
Interview him for his book. Anytime someone's launching a book, you should interview them on it.
Okay.
Because they're in book promotion mode. Because it's
Okay.
not the book, it's the book draws people into the community. That's always,
Okay.
you never write a book for the book.
Right.
Yeah, so do that with Mark, and then
Okay.
you can surf on his credibility in a good way. And it shows who you're working with. It shows that you're not just any RIA, right?
Okay.
There's a lot of retirement investment advisors out there. Most of them are 60 and they don't understand, right? They've like, you know what I mean? Like they're on their way out too, right?
Right. Yeah. So one of the last thing I was trying to figure out is, and I think you've kind of touched upon it, is, there's over 30,000 or 300,000 different financial advisors out there. And
Right.
I don't know that I have distinguished myself from the 30,000 other people that are out there. And
Right.
so just in the quick look that you did, is there anything that I can do to distinguish myself other than
Yeah.
I'm a Black female CFP?
Yeah, the easiest thing is you distinguish yourself with your relationship. So, for example, you wouldn't have booked a call with me unless you had trust in Perry.
Right.
Because otherwise, I'm just some random dude providing digital marketing advice, just like there's all these random other women that will give financial advice, right?
Okay.
It's literally that simple. It's the trust of other people. You have it. It's just not visible digitally. Felicia, you have all the stuff,
Right.
but no one has been working on your brand as far as I can tell.
No, that's true. I mean, no, that is true.
You're the Ferrari with the flat tire.
Got it.
This is a really good situation.
Got it. So let me ask the last question, which is the elephant in the room. If I wanted to work with you specifically, what would it cost me to work with you?
So we always have a first step, and that's
Mhm.
$2,500 for a 6-week program. It's what we
Okay.
call our $1 a day program, and it's blitzmetrics.com/dad, which is for
Okay.
dollar. And that walks you through the 6 phases where the stuff that we talked about today is what we will help you do because we've got a team of VAs.
Okay.
But you are still responsible for getting us the ingredients. So think of us as like the chefs in the kitchen.
Okay.
You have to bring us the meat and the vegetables and all the ingredients. We can cook, but you have to bring all the stuff into the kitchen for us.
Okay.
If you do that, then we'll process it, we'll get it going. And after 6 weeks, sometimes it's 8 weeks, because sometimes, there's getting control of the website, there's like finding these files that were lost or, whatever. But it's about 6 weeks to go through that. We have 6 phases, each taking
Okay.
about a week, and that's it. That's
Okay.
that's a one-time piece. And we hope at that point, when we hand it over to you, that the machine is working, that we have ads that are operating, because we'll take the content, we'll process it in the way that we talked about, so it lives on different channels. We'll start boosting it for $1 a day, and we'll find that some of these stories work. So we'll probably boost 20 or 30 items, and we'll get 2 or 3 winners, usually about 1 in 10. pieces of
Okay.
content will work. For some reason, it's just 1 in 10 seems to be kind of what the ratio is, no matter what kind of service provider you are. You know, financial services, you could be a mechanic, you could do lawn care, you could be an optometrist. Like, just for some reason, like 1 in 10 seems to
Okay.
work. So
Okay.
give us 30 things, give us 40 things. That's more shots on goal. And then the ones
Okay.
that win, we can just continue to adjust it. So you could make more variations of those, like 1 minute videos. We could put more money against it. You could also tune and optimize, like do a new version of your book. Or there's other things you can do beyond that. You could even hire a VA. We
Mhm.
highly recommend that you hire your own VA that works for you full time, not a borrowed VA, not a VA through an agency, not a
Not
shared
the
VA with
shared
someone
one.
else, not someone who is a consultant that does like 5 other companies. One person who works full time only for you, paid by you, $500 to $1,000 a month, working full time for you, who knows your content, knows your network, knows your stories, and works only on your stuff. And we have a whole program on how to find that. We've got a group of 42,000 VAs that are from Pakistan and the Philippines, and they're all going through our training to get certified. So you could hire one of them, but
Okay.
qualified, of course, or go to onlinejobs.pure, hire an unemployed niece or, whoever it is. We don't care. We just want to create jobs. But there's a standard. And if they don't meet the standard, I don't care how much you like them or how smart they are. But if they don't meet the standard, they don't meet the standard.
Yeah, I used to work
Every
with online.com for probably when I was putting out the 150 episodes, that's when I was working with that.
Yeah. So you know what it's like working with a Filipino VA.
Yeah.
And my buddy John Jonas is the one who started that. And he's as white as they come. First time I met him in Utah at his house, I'm like, you're the guy? You're not Filipino. Like, when was the last time you've been to the Philippines? I go to the Philippines more often than you do.
Yeah.
So
No.
and you understand that, in America things cost more. And over there, when you pay someone $500 to $1,000 a month, that's a good living. And they can work full time for you, and they don't have to commute 2 hours a day to go to downtown Manila or whatever. And they can work from their home and take care of their kids and have a dream job working for you. And as long as you produce the content and whatnot, and there's a clear framework, which is what we teach is the content factory, then it's
Okay.
good for you and it's good for them. And there's clear ROI on that, because then what we get going in the first 6 weeks, because we build everything, there's more like work and getting the thing set up. But once it's set up, then then it's perfect for a VA to do their thing.
Yeah.
But
It
it's
could
got to
really
be set
see.
up properly first. Like, there's all the pixels and track, like there's this one-time setup stuff that has to happen. So then your VA can come in.
Yeah, because I don't. So, I mean, that has always been my barrier because I don't mind creating content. I don't mind being interviewed. But the nitty gritty of getting it up and running and keeping it running,
So
that is
your
just
job there
not.
is to interview them. You keep interviewing clients or whatever on Zoom. I love Zoom. And then all that has to happen is, as long as you're interviewing people on Zoom and making sure like the audio is decent and that kind of thing, then it's the job of your VA to process it through stages 2, 3, and 4 of the content factory. You understand the 4 stages of the content factory and how that fits?
As I said, I glossed over your stuff, so I did not
Okay.
go deep into it.
This is what I want you to understand. So you, as the owner, entrepreneur, service provider, face of the company, you should stay only in phase 1, this purple phase on
Okay.
producing content. That's your zone
Okay.
of genius. That's the highest and best use of your time.
Yep.
Relationships, helping other people, podcasts, client or not client, Mark's launch coming up, like all this stuff. You stay here.
Yep.
And that's a good thing that you don't want to meddle in phases 2, 3, and 4, because
Okay.
this is stuff that a VA should do. It's not worth your
Okay.
time. This is
Okay.
$3 to $5 an hour work. And we know this because we have thousands of people that have gone through this and all that, right? So then the processing is using tools like Descript and ChatGPT and all these AI tools, as you'll learn about when we get together in, I don't know, what is it, like 3 weeks from now or something like that.
Yep.
So when we get together, you're going to see all these AI tools that process existing content. Now, what you'll learn in all these other AI seminars and whatnot is that the mistake that people make is they like to start with content generated out of thin air using AI tools. So they want to start at phase 2 instead of starting from phase 1. And that's why all these penalties have been handed down by Google in the last couple of weeks. You and I start here from real experiences. We start with real ingredients. Other people start with just, out of thin air. Hey, ChatGPT, can you write me this article about the 10 things to do if your husband dies? And it's like a decent article, but it doesn't start with real experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't start with the relationships and the stories that you have. So if you have this thing in phase 1, then your VA trained in using this collection of AI tools that we've created training on will then process this long form video content into YouTubes and Facebooks and Instagrams and blog posts and all that kind of stuff, right? Sometimes we can take raw video, skip phase 2 and jump straight to phase 3 to post it. And that works sometimes, but sometimes we want to process it because if it's going to be on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, we're not going to post a 1 hour long Zoom call. We're going to cut out the beginning and end. We're going to chop it into a few different pieces. We're going to format it differently. Processing also includes like taking the transcript and editing that so it can be an article, because the raw verbal transcript is usually not good enough to be an article because people don't speak as clearly. There's ums and ahs,
Right.
things like that.
Yeah.
And then promoting is $1 a day. So if it lives on different channels, then the last step is to promote. If we find a winner, then we'll put more money on it. But initially, we'll test things at $1 a day for a week. So $7 per piece of content, usually 1 in 10, we'll find a winner. So if we follow this process where we start with the raw ingredients, process it, post these into different channels, and we can make many pieces of content off of one raw piece of content, that allows us to find these different winners. And then instead of 80-20, it's 95-5. And all we need to do is find 1 or 2 winners, and then they just keep running forever, which is the whole beauty of things like Google Ads and other ad systems, is you don't have to make new ads every week because the stories are always the same. You're not a fashion designer where things change every couple months.
Right.
People's relationships where there's death and divorce and what are the other things that happen? You know, the 5 horrible things that happen to people, those are always happening.
Yeah.
And there's always these stories.
Right.
And the odds of a new potential client experiencing one of these things in a way that you've not seen is basically 0 now, because you've already seen the pattern. You already know how to help these women. And you already have the proof of in box number 1 of all these women that you've helped through those difficult circumstances. Now, they may be really great, you know, CEO of a rising Fortune 100 company or whatever it is, but then this thing happened in their personal life and they didn't know what to do. And they were overwhelmed, and you helped them through that. And we know a lot of people who are experts and high flyers, you know, professional athletes or successful in a certain thing, but then in another part of their life, they don't know anything.
Right.
And that's where you come in, because they just assume like, I've got my CPA that does my taxes every year and that's all I really know. Oh, now I've got to make some decisions. Well, I don't know what to do. And you're the one to help them there. But they're going to choose you because they trust you, because they've seen 10 other women that have been through that same circumstance and they resonate with those women. So by the time they talk to you for the first time, they feel like they already know you. That's what this model is. There's nothing tricky about this. This is in 5 years from now, it'll be the same model. It'll just be different tools and maybe different channels. But do you see how it's the same? The 4-step process is still the same. It's never going to change because it's strategy. The strategy, you know what I mean? But your success, Felicia, is contingent upon the quality of the ingredients that you put in this first box.
Okay.
So if you do that, then it's just a matter of mechanically executing, having a VA eventually that becomes yours, that does it on an ongoing basis, and you talk to them every week and that kind of thing. Have a set time, you know, Sunday afternoons, whatever it is. You have some set time, you work with the VA and they work for you full time, continuing what we started.
Yeah.
And then you're creating jobs, which is our whole mission.
Perfect.
And everything we do is documented. Everything we do is step by step. There's no secret. It's all published. You can Google it and watch thousands of hours of videos if you like.
Thank you. No. Thank you. No. Yeah. No. I'm excited. It sounds like it's doable. It's cost effective. I knew I had enough assets to do something with. I just didn't know how to deploy it. So if you've got a system that I can plug into, you know, that's just plug and play for me.
Exactly. Because you have the right ingredients.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. A lot of people say, hey, I want to run through your program. Yeah, but you don't have any experience. You've never done this before. You just started your business. No, but you guys have you're so good at this and that. And I've seen the people you've done this for, like, you don't have the ingredients we need. We're the chefs that cook in the kitchen. You can't make chicken salad out of chicken shiitake, right? Come on.
Yeah, got it. No, I get that. And this is great. This is really great.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I will get you the information that you're looking for. Can you drop Stephanie's information in the chat for me?
I
really
will.
Quick?
Yeah. I'm just looking for the chat window here. Here it is. It's really easy. Stephanie at BlitzMetrics.com. Yep.
All right. Thank you. All right. Is there anything else that you think I should know?
I think you know what you need to know. It's just a matter of doing it. It's like, fitness programs. There's no secret to losing weight. You just need to do it. Need to eat right, need to
There's no secret.
exercise.
I was just like, Dennis, if you could tell me the secrets, I'll be all over that.
Felicia, I've been looking for 35 years and I have yet to find the secret. So I
I
don't think I'm
know.
ever going to find it.
I think you and me both are not going to find the secret to that one. But I'm ready to do the work.
Okay.
And it sounds like it's going to be a system that is going to, I mean, because sometimes I've found people who have been really good, but it wasn't cost effective to keep doing it because I wasn't getting the results of what they started. So all of those videos and the beautiful graphics and stuff on Instagram, those guys were charging me a boatload of money on a monthly basis.
But that's
And
not a strategy. That you're not a magazine where you have to
right,
pump out content every month. What we're talking about is building foundational components for you.
yeah,
We're not trying to make you an Instagram star with 100,000 followers. That doesn't reflect your strategy.
no,
You're a financial advisor and you make money by helping clients and getting more clients.
right,
That's the core here. And it comes from the service and the angle that you have. So you distinguish among the 300,000 however many other certified financial planners. There's a lot of them.
there's about 80,000 of those, but there's about $300,000 financial advisors.
I mean, but just looking at your Instagram or whatever, I mean, that's great. I understand like the good intention. Like, oh, well, I mean, you got to do something about social media. So I guess like I'll make some videos and I'll pay these guys a couple $1,000s a month. And I guess, I mean, you can't not do it. So like, okay, I guess I'll do this one. But then
Right.
a few months into it, you're like, all right, so I put like 5 or 10 grand into this. I'm not getting any clients from this, so I don't think I can keep going unless I mean I'm just not an endless money pit, and I'm not doing it to check the box. I'm doing it because I'm running a business here.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
then, is it their video editing? Is it because they're cost effective? Is none of those. It's because the strategy was wrong to begin with.
Right.
It has nothing to do with Instagram or TikTok or LinkedIn or anything like that. And I
Right.
wouldn't even try to advertise on Certified Financial Planner because
Right.
then you're like all the other ones.
Right.
And it doesn't reflect your USP.
Yeah.
The USP ties to other Black women that are just like you, that are successful, but this life event happened. And now what?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so simple. And you need a technician. Like people will come to me, and these are really successful entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And they're expecting some like technical secret. And I'll tell them, look, it's as basic as like your strategy's not there. Like you've not, like, what is it distinguishes you? Where are the stories of how you've successfully helped other people overcome this situation? I don't see evidence of that.
Yeah.
I see like fancy video editing and a fancy piece of software that you bought and all this other stuff. But where's the strategy?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I like Perry, because it's let's focus on the things that actually matter.
And will make a difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I mean, that's one of the reasons why I always pop my head up and take a look at what he's up to, because he's always up to, and he's really committed to only bringing us people who are really good at what they do and can teach us whatever it is that they're teaching us, such that if we go out and implement it, we're able to really do very, very well. So
Yeah.
it's the right place. I'm excited about coming to Planet Perry. It's been a while since I've seen him, been in his place, all the rest of that sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
We'll see you in Chicago in a few weeks.
All right. Thank you so much, Dennis. I appreciate
Thank
your
you,
time.
Felicia.